very important to demonstrate that people are riding bikes. And so we have made a point of getting data, as much data as we possibly can, from as many different sources as possible, so that we can very clearly demonstrate that as built facilities, people ride. And really what this does, what it's done for us, is to provide our politicians the cover that they need. So that when people come in and complain to City Hall about wasting dollars, it's not working, nobody's riding, they can provide this type of data that says, well, in fact, people are riding. We can provide this to our newspapers' editorial boards and said, yes, it is working. And so this kind of stuff has been very important. We don't see people, it's been a long time since we've heard people complain that people aren't driving. In part now because just the visual evidence is so overpowering, but also this type of data has been very important, as has this kind of data. So this is a report, this is a graph generated from data based on our city auditor's office. They annually go out and do surveys. In Portland, we now have 8% of residents that identify the bike as their primary means of transportation to work. Citywide average. In the central neighborhoods, it's much higher. So the Portland's downtown is pretty much right where that olive drab 4% and the blue 13% kind of meet across the river there, the Willamette River. If you ask people, as our auditor does, what their secondary means of transportation is, combine that with primary, we now have 18% of people in Portland citywide that identify the bike as either their primary or secondary means of transportation to work. And again, you can see that in some of the inner neighborhoods, it's on the order of a quarter to almost a third of the population is using a bike. And that is very noticeable on our streets. We have federal data. We have our U.S. Department of Commerce, their annual census instrument is called the American Community Survey. They have us at 6.4% of people annualized average across all months of people using a bike as their main commute vehicle. You've got the auditor's numbers, you've got the bikes as a percentage of vehicles on our bridges. Bikes now represent approximately 13% of all vehicles on our bike-friendly bridges in the downtown, which is 4 out of the 6. 4 out of 7, soon to be 5 out of 7. We're building a new pathway on a downtown bridge. And then we've also got the auditor's data, primary and secondary. So whatever the real number is in Portland for bicycle commute share, what we know is that all indicators show that bicycle use is up. And that's a very important thing to be able to demonstrate for us. There's a really good researcher who has looked at cities around the world to identify what it is about them that makes bicycling, that makes them so bike friendly, that attracts so many people to bicycling. His name is John Pucher, P-U-C-H-E-R. He's at Rutgers University. If you're interested in some of the academic side of bicycle planning, bicycle research, he's got some really great papers. He also noted in cities that are really bike friendly that they have a pretty good split. They have basically an equal split between men and women, 50-50 men to women riding. In Portland, again, this is based on data that we collect annually. In 1992, it was about 4 to 1, which is very typical for an American city. Like I said, 15 years ago, we were a very typical North American city. By 2000, the ratio was 3 to 1, and by 2008, it was 2 to 1. So that's where we want to get to, but we're trending in the right direction. We're making conditions safer and better for bicycling. And, you know, actually there is a, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt this for a moment because there is a slide that I wanted to show that is not here, just because I understand that there is a mandatory helmet law in Portland, and I just wanted to mention this. And part of the things that we also count are helmet use. And we do not have a mandatory helmet law in Portland for people 16 and older. So under 16, mandatory helmet use, over 16, not. Despite that, we have seen helmet use increase dramatically in Portland as ridership has gone up. So in 1992, we had 45% of people wearing helmets. By 2000, we had about 70% of people wearing helmets. And by 2008, 82% of people that we count were using helmets. And of course, the point that we want to get to is pretty much 0% of people wearing helmets. We want to get to 0% of people wearing helmets. We want to create conditions on the street that are so comfortable and so safe, right, that you don't need a helmet. So I rode through Amsterdam about 10 years ago with my 7-year-old son. And it's a very dense city, about 740,000, very urban, very busy, a lot of stuff going on. And they have created facilities there that are so easy to use that the only thing that the only experience I could compare them to in Portland was like riding along one of our 4.3 meter wide river paths. So that's what it felt like to ride through the heart of downtown Amsterdam. And that was why none of the Dutch are wearing helmets. That's why I felt perfectly comfortable with my 7-year-old son riding his bike with me through the streets of Amsterdam with no helmet on by myself. At the time, I wouldn't let him even ride on the street with a bike lane with a helmet on in Portland because it was just too scary. So we want to get to 0%. We've got a long ways to go. But we want to create conditions so that you don't feel as if you're engaging in an activity that may cause you to land on your head. That's what we want. And the reason that we feel like we can get there is because we're seeing a phenomena that is seen in cities around the world that are encouraging bike use. As bicycle use has gone up, our crash rates, the number of reported crashes has held steady. We're not seeing crashes go up with bike use. And so our crash rate is plummeting. It is becoming safer and safer. And this has been seen in cities around the world. There are good academic articles about this phenomena. The more people ride, the safer conditions are. The best thing you can do to make conditions safer for cycling is to create conditions so that more people will ride. What this has brought us in Portland is a growing acceptance and recognition of the benefits of bicycle transportation. This is a restaurant in Portland. This used to have 2 car parking spaces in front of it. It now has spaces for parking 24 bikes. This picture really speaks volumes about what's going on in Portland. And it's very recent. You know, we have been wandering in the wilderness for a long time. And it's really in the last few years that things have really, as I said, accelerated. This picture really speaks volumes. First of all, it says that there are so many bikes, there are so many people using bikes to go to this commercial district, to go to this restaurant, that you can't park them all on the sidewalk in a way that makes sense. Right? It would just clutter up the pedestrian environment terribly. And so you got to put them on the street. You can't put them on the sidewalk. Our sidewalks aren't that wide. The second thing this says is that the reason the business owner likes this, and I should mention that the city did not come in and put this in. This was we did put it in, but it was at the request of the business owner. We did not do this of our own initiative. We have 33 of these around Portland. We have a waiting list of about 50 to 60 more. So the other thing that this says is that businesses are recognizing that cyclists are valued customers and that they want to be seen as bicycle-friendly businesses and they want people coming to their businesses on bicycles. The other thing that business owners really like about this is it's created a much more pleasant sidewalk cafe atmosphere. Because now you don't have car exhaust on the sidewalk where these people are eating. You don't have the noise of cars starting up and turning off, pulling in, pulling out. And you can put the table, they've gotten more tables here. Because you don't now worry about somebody parallel parking and knocking over, looks like nachos. And the other reason that the business owners really like this is because it means that there will never be a large truck or SUV or van that's blocking their windows, that's blocking their storefront.